3, 2, 1.
Hello there! I'm Emily.
And I'm Kayla. And that was very off sync.
Oh, it was?
Yes, it was my fault.
Oh, do we start over?
We can if you'd like. 3, 2.
I didn't even notice. Hello there! I'm Emily.
And I'm Kayla.
And we just want to talk movies.
Oh my gosh, we did it.
So today we are talking all about the current state of movie theaters and theatrically released.
That's really hard to say.
Movies.
And what a state they're in, folks. What a state they're in.
Oh yeah. But there's lots of negative stuff, but there's also some recent positive things.
Yes, I would say so, yes.
Yes.
Such is life.
Oh, it's always so awkward when we're trying to warm up.
It's November. It's been a long year. I have to admit, this has been one of the longest years, but it's also gone by so fast.
Yeah.
Today drained me.
This year
drained me. Anyway, but we're not even at the end of it yet. We still have 2 more months.
Yeah.
What's our news, you might ask? Well, there's lots of news going on in the wider world, but we're
not going to talk about all that.
We're not going to focus on that today because let's just have as good of a time as we can.
This is not a podcast about the reality of life, as
Please.
we know.
I have enough of that every day.
It's called We Just Want to Talk Movies.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Shall I start with my news, or do you want to start with yours?
Just start with yours.
Okay. Well, folks, today is November 10th that we're recording this, which means that 4 days ago was Stranger Things Day, November 6th. Da-da-da-da. And we got some juicy news. Not juicy enough, if you ask me. Anyway. We got our first teaser. It was a title tease, and it gave us all of the titles for Season 5, as well as the fact that Season 5 takes place in the fall of 1987, which means that it takes place a year and a half after Season 4, so there is going to be a bit of a time jump. Anyway, if anyone didn't see this teaser, I'll read out the list for you. I'm gonna read the list of the titles we were given. So, the episode 1 is called The Crawl, which we already knew. Episode 2 is called The Vanishing of Blank, Redacted, which I think we can all assume is Holly Wheeler. Anyone else? Anyway.
Is it Ted?
It could be Ted Wheeler. Episode 3 is called The Turnbow Trap. No clue what that means. Episode 4 is called Sorcerer, which I'm thinking any Will the Wise connections. Is Will going to be going through it? Probably. Episode 5 is called Shock Jock. Once again, not sure what that means. Episode 6 is called Escape from Camazots. Very much don't know what that means. Episode 7 is called The Bridge. And episode 8 is called The Right Side Up, which I find very funny because episode 8 of season 1 was called The Upside Down. It hints at a happy ending, but I've also heard, as David Harbour has said, that everyone was crying, but that could also be because they knew it was the last episode. So, who knows? Right now, we do not know much. We also got some pictures. A picture of all the boys in the high school. A picture of Mike Wheeler and Lucas. Why can't I remember his last name?
Sinclair.
Lucas Sinclair, riding on their bikes in front of the radio station. We got the gang, Steve, Nancy, Jonathan, and Dustin in someone's car, but they look like they're having fun. And then we got the Duffer Brothers, and then just some vines. And then David and Winona in someone's bed. I can't tell whose house this is. I want to say it must be the cabin, because the Byers don't really have a home right now. They're only in California. Anyway, so it was some fun announcements. I'm excited to see some more. Please and thank you.
Baboosh?
Baboosh. That's the new theme. I think they should update the theme to whatever the heck I've been doing.
Yeah. Hire Kayla to...
Oh, that would be so funny.
You play it on the
I
recorder.
should dub over an entire episode of Stranger Things. I could probably
be
do
funny.
it. I could do it, you know.
That'd be funny.
I should do that. That would be really funny. On to your news.
The only news I have is really sad.
Oh, yeah.
Because we heard that Tony Todd passed away a few days ago at 69, which is way too young in this day and age. We don't have any details yet, I don't think.
His wife said that it was from a long illness, but they
Okay.
haven't said anything else.
Yeah, I say this every single year. Everyone says this every single year, but way too many people are dying who are way too young. And I guess it's always been that way if you think about it.
Yeah.
There's every single year people... I mean...
I just feel like there are times when it's like a bunch of people one after the other.
Yeah.
That you hear about, then you're like, wow. And the older we get, too, the more like they were a part of our childhoods.
Yeah.
Like I know Liam Payne, we didn't talk about Liam Payne, but that one is a big one for a lot of people our age.
That one I can't even comprehend.
I know.
Still. But that was very sad to hear. We're huge Candyman fans and Final Destination fans.
Yes.
He's an icon in horror. He's one of the Hall of Famers by far. So
Have any of you seen Minotaur? He gives one of the most crazy performances in that movie.
or how about I love his role in Hatchet 2 where he gets to this day one of the most insane deaths I've ever seen on screen.
He's had quite a career.
Yeah. Many movies, many cameos.
Creepy, great voice.
Yes, iconic voice. So rest in peace. Sad. I hate when it's sad news.
I know.
It brings the vibe down.
I know. We were like, let's ignore all the bad things happening in the world. Well,
It's movie related. And anywho, now we're gonna talk about something that's gonna make us mad.
that was all the news that you had.
Yeah, I don't, Magpie is about to come out on digital, so I think I will have a mini review probably next episode. I hope I can watch it, hopefully Tuesday. I'm gonna run home from work and immediately get on my computer, try to find it.
Nice.
I forget what platforms it's coming out on, but wherever it is, I will find a way to watch it, because, the more I hear as it's getting closer to coming out, I'm like...
It sounds really good.
They're like, you will not believe this twist. I'm like, oh come on, I want to see it already.
That's fun.
Yeah, I'm so excited. It's a psychological thriller, so I love it. You love to see it. Anywho.
Let's get into the main discussion of today. What is that, Emily?
It's all about movie theaters in this here modern
age.
Yeah, modern age of the 2020s. I mean, we've talked about this briefly here and there.
Even last episode.
Yes, giving a brief ranty thoughts on things that have been happening. I mean, we could also talk about like streaming relates to it, but
yeah,
a little bit about physical media as well.
Definitely. I have a lot to say about that.
Yeah, that. Basically, with the age of streaming,
it's changed the landscape in good ways and bad.
Yes.
In my opinion, it's done a lot for television. Some of my favorite shows have come out since streaming has boomed. If streaming was not a thing, Stranger Things wouldn't be here. So I can't sit around and complain about it and wish it wasn't here. And I think that I actually like the format where they release episodes all at once, because I think it allows for some more flexibility. Like when TV was the only thing, you'd have to record if you were gonna miss an episode, or like maybe you missed the beginning of an episode because you didn't get to the TV in time or something like that.
Oh, I remember those days.
Yeah, I do. We used to run to the TV.
Or when you're going to the bathroom during a commercial,
Yeah.
but then it comes back, you're like, wait.
And like, sure, you have reruns, and back then, like, I think of the Vampire Diaries. That was like our big thing back in the day.
Yep.
We could still like buy them on Amazon, buy the episodes, but that's a lot of money, and we were children, so we didn't really have that.
I'd have to wait for my my Visa gift card that I could get my $25.
Yeah, for like Christmases and birthdays.
Oh my god, we get to buy some more episodes of the Vampire Diaries.
That and Austin and Ally.
Oh
You bought all of that.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, it's made things a lot more convenient in that sense. However, it has also greatly shortened the length of TV shows, like episode-wise. Like now it's like 10 to 12 is like the max usually, when it used to be like 24, and they would be long. It wouldn't, like with a sitcom like Friends, that makes a lot of sense because they're only 20 minutes, but there would be like the Vampire Diaries, they were pretty long seasons.
They were like 40-minute episodes.
Yeah.
Over 20 episodes every season.
Same with Lost. And I do have to say I missed that, because that's fun. You like always have something to look forward to every week. Now it's 8 episodes all at once, and then you have to wait 3 years for the next one.
Yeah.
So yeah, as far as TV goes, I would say it's mixed for me. Movies, I feel like I'm more leaning towards the negative side with streaming, because it has ruined, well, I would say with TV shows and movies, it's completely ruined physical media, and with movies, it's also changed theaters a lot as well. And I'm sure you have a lot to say about that, Emily.
I do. A while back, I actually did a little series on my blog talking about the current state of film, and I talked a lot about streaming and how it's affected everything. I think, I mean, it was pre-COVID, it was already going in that direction, more towards streaming, and I think that's because people, and this goes with everything, you look at things like DoorDash,
Even like Amazon, online shopping.
Yep. People don't want to leave the house as much anymore. And as an introvert,
I understand.
Yeah. So with streaming, it's okay, well, instead of having to gather everyone up, go out to the movies, pay for tickets, pay for all the snacks, and
it's so much more convenient to just pay the monthly fee, and especially at the beginning of streaming when it wasn't as expensive.
yes.
You just pay the monthly fee and you get a ton of stuff that you can watch at any time.
Yep.
On any device, too. That's really nice.
And people love that, oh, they can pause when they want, or they can put subtitles on, or anything. Turn the volume where
Very
they want
accessible.
it. Yeah, so people are like, well, what are we going to the movies for? This is what it should be. And I can't really pinpoint when exactly it started to turn that way. I want to say like...
Well, Netflix boomed after Stranger Things, and like, well, Orange is the New Black too. So like in the mid 2010s, I'd say, but then it got really big. Probably. Well, when did Disney Plus come out? That was around COVID, right?
Yeah.
It was like 2019. I think it was like right before COVID.
Yeah, I think it was 2019.
So just like a perfect storm.
Pretty much. Because, yeah, then of course COVID, even if they wanted to go out, we couldn't go out. So obviously the answer was streaming. Not only because we couldn't go out, but there was literally nothing to do but sit and watch TV. That was the only thing. I mean, what else could you do? Nothing.
Play board games.
Yeah, I mean, stuff like that.
I wrote a book.
Well, yes. I wrote many fantastic fan fictions during COVID. But as far as things to do for fun or to relax and not think about everything going on, and a lot of people, me included, didn't want to think about what was going on. So like, how can I distract myself? And movies and TV are the best things to do that. And after, when we were starting to kind of come out of COVID, like 2021-ish, and movie theaters reopened, people were like, well,
why would I do that?
Yeah, throughout all of lockdown, we've really, even people who weren't into streaming were forced to do only streaming, and a lot of people are like, this is actually a lot better than having to pay an ungodly amount of money just to go to one freaking show. I mean, you think about it, you take like a group of people, you take your family to a movie.
That's so expensive.
It's an investment.
It is.
Literally.
And you don't know if you're going to like the movie or not. And that is another reason why most of the movies that do go to theaters now are ones that are sequels or remakes or adaptations of well-loved books, because people are less likely to be like, this is a risk. This is a risk I'm investing in. Because it is. If you don't know anything about the story, and it could be bad, like, even I don't, sometimes I'm more likely to go to big franchise ones. Like, October. There were 2 movies that came out, We Live in Time and Saturday Night, that I really wanted to see. But I prioritized the bigger ones, Smile 2, Terrifier 3, because I knew that I was, like, probably gonna like those ones. I know that I'm gonna like the other 2, but, like, they were still up on the priority list, and I think that happens with a lot of people.
Yeah. And I think there's something to be said, like, when you go to a theater, at least for me, it's like this adrenaline kind of thing. And I want a movie that's like thrills and excitement. I don't...
The indie movies.
Yeah. I wouldn't go to a drama or an indie movie in the theater unless it had like an actor I'd love. You know? If it's just some random... I wouldn't be... I'm like, I could see that at home. I don't need to go to the theater to see that on the big screen.
Agreed.
I think that's probably how a lot of people feel. Not all people, but...
Well, if you have a lot of money...
Listen,
if I choose.
If I were rich and I had all the time in the world, I'd see like every single movie ever in theaters.
But more and more people don't, and their prices keep rising. Yes. So... therein lies probably the main issue now. With COVID, there were a lot of other issues, but nowadays, I think that's really what is stopping people from going, which I understand.
And with movies nowadays, it's not only... So you have only the sequels and the big budget action or horror or whatever it is. But now, I mean, those movies are... not very hit or miss, and people are realizing that more and more. So even those, everyone's like, I don't want to spend my money on that, because usually they're not very good.
What was a recent one that flopped?
Joker 2.
Joker 2.
Joker 2.
Did Ghostbusters Frozen Empire do very well? I don't remember it doing very well.
No, I honestly don't remember anyone talking about that.
No, and I don't blame them.
Yeah.
So,
but then you have like Dune.
Dune is doing well, but those are good movies. So there's some of them are merit based. Yes. Well, I would say all of those are merit based.
Yeah. But you if you watch something on streaming, you could start it and get halfway through and be like, this is crap, I'm turning it off and going to some...
And you didn't lose out on anything.
You didn't lose.
You did if you went to the movie theater and you walked out halfway through.
Yeah.
I, for one, when we went to see Halloween Ends, walked out of the theater to go to the bathroom because it was so bad. But I couldn't leave. 1, because Emily was there, and 2, because we had spent money.
Yep. And in a way, that was one of those ones where I'm like, I gotta see how they are gonna try to wrap this up. And of course, it was still crap.
It was bad. I regret that one.
Yeah. You don't even get any enjoyment out of how bad it is.
It's there are certain movies. That's, for me, I'm not as picky either. So with people who are like more picky about their movies, I understand why theaters definitely wouldn't be a good idea. For me, as long as I laugh a couple times, cry maybe, am entertained, I am fine with it. I went to the movie, it was an experience. I know that that's what I'm paying for, more than like if I like the movie or not.
Yeah, exactly.
But some people aren't like that, which to each his own.
What, like Night Swim?
Yeah.
Night Swim was
is
a blast.
Awful, but it was so fun.
Oh my god, we were dying. It was an
interesting theater experience.
And the people around us, like, experiencing that with the group was
we heard someone after it ended turned to, like, her husband and was like, well, that was an odd movie.
Just, like, we were all baffled. And that's why horror, I think especially, is amazing to see in theaters.
Yeah.
Because that is, like, such a group experience. As I've been watching all these Magpie promo interviews, I recently heard Daisy Ridley talking about horror movies and how it's with those movies specifically, the audience is just like you're all in it together and you never feel more connected with an audience than when you watch a horror movie. I'm like, that is so true.
Or if it's like, it's that, or if it's like a sequel to a franchise that everyone has been waiting for.
Yes.
So everyone's like, we're here together.
Yeah. And thankfully, this past month, have been like amazing horror movies to see in a theater with other people and just the experience. And it proves like Terrifier 3 and Smile 2 are movies that prove that theaters still need to be a thing. Because I picture myself watching those two movies at home, and obviously I still would have enjoyed them and had a good time, but it's not the same as for the first time experiencing it like that.
Yeah. There's a purpose for theaters.
Yeah. I mean, all of us in there together, like, just watching Art the Clown and being like,
that's crazy.
What are we watching, guys? Like, what's going on?
The sound was crazy in Terrifier 3.
Oh, they did turn it up way too loud.
But, like, even, like, the sound design was meant for an amplified theater.
Yes.
It's so crazy.
And another movie that we saw a couple years ago, Barbarian.
That one was good.
Like, again, I can't imagine if I watched it just at home for the first time, it wouldn't have been the same.
No.
Part of that was, like,
it was in a dark room.
Yeah.
Same. I feel like that way with Insidious. Is it the fourth or the fifth one that just came out? Or
the fifth one.
Yeah, that one was really scary. But we were also, that was this particular experience because we were the only ones in the theater. But just being in like a dark big room for that one also made it better.
And there's something to be said about not being in your own space, not being able to press pause or turn it down whenever you want, because you're like, I remember in Barbarian, the very first scene when she's going down into the basement, she's walking through, and I was like, I was really helpless. Scary. I'm like, I can't stop this. I want to stop it, but it's not going to stop. I don't know what's going to happen.
It was like being on a roller coaster ride.
It is. And
they've sort of modeled modern roller coaster rides after the movie theater experience because a lot of it is on big IMAX screen type things.
The virtual reality. And I think there was a period of time in movie theaters when like 3D was coming back, first of all, and then you had those seats, the motion seats that like rocked you with the movie. And I think they had even like the sound coming right there.
Weren't we about to see Guardians of the Galaxy like that, but then we couldn't go? It was maybe. It was at least a huge IMAX screen.
IMAX was coming out for the first time. It might have been that we were trying to see it in IMAX. They were like trying to make it more like a ride almost. Yeah. And that was like right before they kind of dropped off.
That's sad.
But yeah, I mean, I saw Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker in theaters 6 times.
Wow.
Over.
I think I saw it 4.
Every single time I was in that theater, and I mean, it's Star Wars, so I'm like immersed. There's nothing else going on in my world at that moment. But I like vividly remember the scenes, especially on Kefber, when Rey is like riding that the skimmer on the huge waves, and then she goes into the Death Star remains, and I just felt like I was on a ride. Like the sound and the way the camera like moves, I'm like, whoa, I'm in the movie. This is crazy.
I know, I kind of miss seeing that movie in theaters.
Oh, I can't even listen to a single sound of that movie without hearing it through the theater speakers. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I went back. I took, I think 2 days off of. I skipped classes 2 days in a row to go see. I'm like,
I wish I had the bravery to do that.
I mean, I remember ditching one class my last year of college to see 65 a second time.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm like, you know what?
I ditched high school to watch Stranger Things 4.
Yeah.
So that's something.
You gotta do it sometime.
But I'd love to do it to go to the movie theater. That's kind of what made Twisters such a fun.
That was a big one for you, yeah.
Yeah, I should mention Twisters.
Yes.
That's also what made Twisters such a fun theater experience for me, is that I didn't skip school, but I remember that morning I was like, you know what? I really want to see this, and I'm going to see it. So I just rushed through all of my schoolwork and then took the day off early and then went to see it, and I was all by myself, and it was so fun. That was a really fun theater experience. It's fun to go to the movies by yourself.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's just I don't know. I can't describe it. Maybe it's because it's more personal, the movie. I watched The Whale by myself too, and that was a really emotional, cathartic moment, because that's a depressing movie, regardless if you like it or not.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was fun. And Twisters in general, that is a movie that you need to see on the big screen, because guess what? There's Twisters, and there's Twisters moments galore. And if theaters had gone kaput after COVID, this movie might have not been my favorite movie of 2024. Mm-hmm.
And we, Young Women in the Sea was another huge one this year.
Yes.
And that was, okay, not to be I'm gonna go off for a minute. I know you've all heard enough about Daisy Ridley, but I need to speak, because this is such a perfect example of studios just being ding-dongs when it comes to this. So these movies will be made, and they're meant to be in a theater, but then the studio be like, no, we don't know if we want to, so we're just gonna not market it.
The studios also, we were talking about how people going to see movies in theater are taking a risk. The studios are also taking a risk, so they're less likely to put them in theaters. Yeah. And
they'll sabotage. What I don't understand is they sabotage themselves by not marketing anything correctly. We're gonna just quietly put this out in theaters. Oh, no one saw it. I guess it's
sabotage.
You just did that. It happened with Chaos Walking in 2021. The very first movie to be released in a theater after COVID, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, wow.
The first big movie. Why would you... This production had so famously been, problematic. The reshoots and everything going on behind the scenes, everyone's already you know what a great idea would be? Let's release it as the very first movie after COVID. I'm sure it'll do great.
They just hated it at that point.
Oh, it flopped? It was a flop. No one went to see it? Oh my god, I guess it's a bad movie.
That's just mean.
The Marsh King's Daughter. I didn't hear... There wasn't a single press interview. I didn't see any marketing anywhere. Yeah. Anywhere. And I am all in the Daisy Ridley news on social media and everything. I should have been getting tons of stuff. I didn't hear a word. I didn't see a thing on TV. They release it in theaters and they're like, oh, well, it flopped. Really? Because no one knew it was coming out. You told people you see The Marsh King's Daughter. What the heck is that? Yeah. Because no one spoke about it. And they wondered, oh, well, I guess it must be a bad movie. It flopped. You didn't tell anyone it was coming out. And then Young Woman in the Sea. A movie obviously made and meant to be in a theater. But they're like, no, we're just going to put it on Disney+. And thank God the creators spoke to the studio this needs to be in theaters. And they're like, all right, we'll put it out in some theaters.
The smallest, most away theater by us had it playing. Which I'm very grateful for.
Yeah. Again, marketing was a little better than The Marsh King's Daughter, as in it at least was not at all.
I saw maybe a couple teasers before it came out.
But still, they're like, oh, well, it didn't do amazing. Well, it was in 5 theaters.
Yeah.
Oh, it makes me so mad.
Yeah, but again,
why are you doing this to yourself?
It is such an investment to market a movie, and they know that even if it would have brought more people in to see it, I don't know if it would have justified it by their metrics.
I guess not, but then why would they even put it in a theater? Just to be like, well, it flopped.
I know, that's crazy that they put Chaos Walking.
Oh, that just made me so mad.
Because that was the same era where they were doing. I mean, I know Chaos Walking wasn't owned by Disney, right?
Mm-mm.
So Disney was doing this, but they were doing like we'll release it in theaters, but we'll also release it in streaming. That was a really dumb business idea.
Yeah.
But at least, at least it gave people more options, ways to watch it, I guess. I don't know. It's better than just throwing it in right when theaters open, and that's all.
And wonder, oh my god, it flopped? I'm astonished. I'm not.
Scarlett Johansson sued Disney for that, right?
Oh, yeah. What was that all about?
I don't know the specifics of that, but I think it was to do with the way that they released it, and it did.
Oh, flop. that was Black Widow.
Yeah, for Black Widow.
Okay, yeah. They did that with that.
They did that with Black Widow. They did it with.
They did it with Halloween Kills. I remember that.
They did it. Oh, what's the other one that they did it with? Didn't they do that with Mulan?
No, Mulan was, that was right when lockdown started. Oh. So that was I think that was one of the first big movies that was meant to go to theaters, but ended up having the streaming premiere instead.
Yeah, they would do that where, they weren't just going to push it back. They just were like, let's just get it out. Because we didn't know what was going to happen.
And that was that crazy thing where even if you had Disney Plus, you had to pay $30 or something to see it.
Disney was doing wild things during COVID, which, are we surprised? No. They just love money and they don't care about what's going on in the world.
Yeah. So that, I remember that was the first time that happened, at least that I was aware of.
Yeah. And then, they did that with a few Marvel movies, I think, with the whole, we'll release it in theaters, but also on streaming, a week later or something.
Mm-hmm. Didn't they do something with Godzilla versus Kong?
Yes, they did the same thing on HBO Max.
Oh, okay.
But I think it was available only a week later. Or a week before? I can't remember.
We didn't see that in theaters. We saw that at home.
That's right. Wait. I saw it in theaters. Because I was like, wait a minute, I feel like I've seen that in theaters. No, I saw it in theaters, but I think the first time. I didn't watch it for the first time in theaters. I watched it for the first time at home.
We watched it at home.
Which is odd.
Yeah.
It was an odd period of film. Anything else you want to say before we move on to physical media?
Well, I mean, I feel like we have to mention Barbie and Oppenheimer.
Yes, there's been some recent recoveries, I'd say.
I think everyone... I mean, last year was amazing for movies. We had Barbenheimer, which brought so much excitement back for the movie theaters.
And I think you're still seeing the effects of that this year because, like we were saying with Terrifier and Smile, they both they've both done well, right? I know Terrifier has.
Terrifier is the star of the year, to be honest.
I just feel like you're finally seeing more movies go to theaters first for an extended period before they go on streaming.
Yes.
And that's what's nice about streaming, because before it would be like, oh, it's in theaters and then it's on digital. And sometimes the digital would be hard to access. But now almost everything goes right onto a streaming platform, so you can always see these movies no matter what. But they don't always go on to DVD, which is an issue because of the way the streaming platforms are acting lately.
And that was another thing with, I think some of the big movies last year, Barbie, Oppenheimer, Poor Things was in theaters
for a really long time.
Everyone was going to see that. Five Nights at Freddy's was huge. That was a very fun theater experience, meant to be in a theater. And those all got Blu-ray releases, which was interesting to me.
Yeah, that is interesting. I guess they just have to be really big successes for them to invest in a DVD. I don't know, and then sometimes it'll be random. Sometimes just a random movie will be on a DVD. So they haven't fully sorted out what they're doing with physical media, but it's clearly becoming a little obsolete.
Yeah. I mean, Disney is weird too, because I think Inside Out 2 got a Blu-ray release, I'm pretty sure. I'm like, I thought they weren't doing that anymore.
What about Young Woman in the Sea?
Nothing.
Yeah, they just sort of pick and choose, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been sad recent years. The Best Buy closest to us, no movies anymore. Just very recently, the Target closest to us, no movies at all anymore. I mean, you can order them offline, but they're not in store. Which is very sad because Barnes & Noble still definitely has DVDs. We don't really have one near us, so we're not exactly sure. But yeah, whenever I see DVDs in a store, I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
And like rental stores, they're way out.
Blockbuster.
Which I sorely miss. Like, that was a great thing where you could just go to a shop. There you go with like...
Rent a thing for just $4.
Couple bucks. Watch it, bring it back. It's the same thing like how I was talking about when it went on digital, it'd be harder to find. Well, you'd have rental stores back then. So you would most likely be able to find something that you'd like. And it acted sort of like a streaming service because a lot of times the stuff on streaming services you never would have heard of unless they weren't like in your recommendeds or whatever. Mm-hmm. In the DVD rental places, you just browse through and be like, oh, this looks interesting. Let's do that. So I feel like one for one, streaming definitely replaced rental stores.
That's how so many horror movies got the audiences that they did. They wouldn't, I mean, after like in the 80s, I want to say mid 80s, when they started not doing too well at the box office, they would just release them direct to VHS. And how they would get an audience is you just make a really awesome cover.
Yeah.
And then people be like, whoa, what's this? And they rent it, and it's awesome, and they tell all their friends. And then that's how, like, so many horror movies got their cult status that way. And
you won't see much direct-to-DVD movies these days.
No. And if, like, it's not the same thing on streaming. You'll be like, everything looks like crap because...
That's true. It is harder.
Which is a shame, because that's how, like, very low-budget movies were able to get so much recognition and money and all that.
The streaming service has to pick you up now and put you on there. Which sometimes they do. I know that there are some movies that I really like that, like, kind of no one talks about, and then after a while it'll be like, oh, this was picked up by Netflix, and I'll be like, oh, cool, now I can watch it. But then let me just get to this point that I hate with streaming, is they at any moment could take it off their platform
with no explanation.
Yeah. And a lot of times with Netflix, I know the way Netflix, I don't know much about other streaming platforms. The way that Netflix works is they'll like get a batch of movies for like a month or two and then they'll be gone. And they just kind of rotate their catalog constantly. Which is really annoying. I hate so that. Stupid. I mean, I understand, like I don't know how it would work to just purchase all these rights forever. Like, it probably business-wise wouldn't work. But I also don't trust Netflix business-wise.
No.
But that being said, when you have movies like that don't get a physical release on DVD, and they can be just deleted off of a streaming platform at any time, you get a lot of just lost media, it should not happen, and is really sad.
It's like we're going backwards into the 1920s when if someone misplaced a reel, then it's like it's just a lost film. And like we worked so hard to overcome that and preserve art and movies, and now we're just kind of like, we'll throw it up on this platform, and if we take it away, then
we're in the digital age. So like when I say lost media, I don't mean it's just gone forever. It's just a lot harder to access, and the whole thing with streaming is it's supposed to be so accessible, and now like
that's just a lie.
All these things, because largely of streaming, a lot of movies are now really hard to access.
Yeah. And they can't, it even goes, like with games, video games. I don't know what this was, but I heard about some game where they said you can purchase it and download, like, you buy the game. It's yours. But if we decide to take it off the platform, then we can do that if we want.
Yeah, I think that's a thing.
Is buying not owning now then?
No.
And then they want to go like, ooh, pirating is so... You're hurting so many people when you do that. I'm like... Oh.
At this point, like, no.
Like, come on. It makes me so irritated.
And they're so, like, Netflix is fine. Disney is fine. You're not harming anyone.
I'm not making anyone homeless. No.
No. And I mean, you could say, oh, the poor crew members who work on it. Well, they're not getting paid by Disney.
Yeah, come on. That's not... See, that's
not
typical
problem.
big studios are trying to blame all the little people. Yeah. Like, you guys are the ones taking money. I'm like, what?
You have to pay them wages.
It's so obviously these big studio owners just trying to have control over everything and everyone, and like just making us kind of feel like we have the right to watch it whenever we want, but really they're like, we hold the we can take it away.
It's
like,
so evil.
That's just so disgusting.
We're in late stage capitalism.
For real. I'm like, come on.
I would like to announce that I did get my Interview with a Vampire Season 2 DVD, yes. And it did come with a bunch of amazing art cards, collectible art cards, and with a bunch of cool art on the cover and on the discs. So, AMC, thank you very much.
Yes, and we have Shout Factory, which is an amazing company that does consistently gorgeous Blu-ray releases. Whenever I like a movie and I see that Shout Factory is releasing, I'm like, I am buying that because it's guaranteed to be a release first of all, and a release that actually has effort put into it.
Yeah.
And that's another thing with physical media is there's just the effort into, like, even just poster art from the get-go, to be honest.
Yeah,
but
these days,
the disc art, the special features, like, it's just kind of like, eh.
Yeah, my DVD came with a bunch of special features that I'm very excited to sink my teeth into. Oh, no pun intended. Literally, I didn't even realize.
Oh my god. So that's another lost art. That thankfully there are some companies here and there that, yeah, they put effort.
They keep it alive.
Yeah. And
AMC is also, like, partnered with Shudder, right?
Yes.
So that might have something to do with it too. Shudder, I like Shudder. Yeah,
Shudder. If I had money to burn, that may be a streaming service that I would pay for, because I would love to watch Joe Bob Briggs regularly. But yeah.
He's on AMC sometimes.
Yeah, if you catch him.
I'm getting into AMC, folks.
Yeah, I mean, they're not bad. I did hear this huge lawsuit that they emailed me about it forever. Because I was subscribed to Shudder. Mm-hmm. Apparently they, like, sold a bunch of personal info that they weren't supposed to.
Well, Google does it all the time.
Yeah, I think everyone does. I mean, I just assume that.
Everyone does it, just some people get caught.
Yeah, and some people decide to make a deal out of it and pretend that they think it's wrong. I'm like, I'm pretty sure you're okay with this the rest of the time.
I don't know. It sucks. It shouldn't happen.
Oh, no. But let me tell you, if you're online in any way...
Yeah. I just got a notification that my location is available for people to see, because I went on a website that one of my teachers linked for me. I was like, thank you, teacher.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. That's another thing that comes with just the online age.
Yeah. That's a whole other branch off topic that we could go into.
Yeah. One of the last things we mentioned before was, and it relates to the studios deciding to take stuff away when they want to, is the legendary Batgirl movie that never was.
Yeah.
That so many people, like, I feel, I don't really care, but if that were a movie that
or that you were in, or that you were looking forward to,
that you worked on, or that even if you were someone who like financed it.
Yeah. All because of, it was because, what happened? Someone bought someone.
There's so, the statements that they say, why it happened, I'm like, whatever. But they're just like, well, we only want to release movies that have this budget on them, and this was below the budget. I'm like,
what the heck?
Oh
was
my
it because
God.
Warner Brothers bought HBO?
I guess, because they were changing their requirements for a release.
Oh my God.
I guess.
That's really dumb.
But to not even release it anywhere, they're
Yeah.
just holding it hostage.
Yeah, and
is
it's
insane.
finished, right?
Yes.
That's crazy. So there's lost media. I wonder if anyone could break into
I think
I don't advocate for that. I want to make it very clear, don't do that.
don't do it.
It's like
you hear my voice saying, "Don't do it."
It's like Katy Perry at Columbia Records or whatever. So I stole the files.
Yes, yeah. Or like it's very bad. Don't do it. For the record. But they tried to do that with the live action Looney Tunes movie, I think it was.
Oh my gosh, really?
And like there was an intense revolt, so they ended up releasing that one.
What the one the one with Zendaya, where she plays a Lola rabbit? That's the only live action thing I can think of.
I guess it was that. But yeah, I'm just in shock. And a movie like a superhero movie that
would have gotten so many views.
Superhero movies are like the only things that get greenlit.
Yeah,
nowadays.
that's
Although
crazy.
that might be going out of style very soon.
Yeah, well, we got Joker. Yeah.
I heard that Venom 3 was doing pretty good, actually. I heard it's like, critic-wise, it's like the same as the other two.
Yes, I did hear that as well.
But I actually heard it kicked Smile 2 out of whatever place.
Oh, wow. Well, all right. So superhero movies are still doing good.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm thinking, that they're taking a turn slightly for the better. The trailers. Like, I think Thunderbolts looks pretty good. The new Captain America looks... I don't know how I feel about Harrison Ford turning into the Hulk.
God.
But it looks a little bit more refined. Agatha All Along just came out, and that one I think people liked. I kind of want to watch it, but I don't know. I've been so out of it that I don't know if I would keep up with it and finish it.
I'm just so, like, I have no feelings towards Marvel anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I used to have strong feelings of hatred.
Yeah, now I'm just sort
I'm
of...
just like, okay.
Yeah.
You know what? I have my stuff that I'm watching now and
yeah, because it wasn't so much that they were literally the only thing in theaters for a really long time.
Yeah. And the only thing people wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
Like, will you shut up?
That was like Multiverse of Madness, that era. That was bad. That was really bad. Thor, Love and Thunder. I couldn't even finish it. I made it maybe half an hour in, and I turned it off and never went back.
Even when we went to see Deadpool and Wolverine,
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't have any expectations going in. I'm like, I don't care if this is good. I don't care if this is bad. I just want to be entertained, and I was. So
yeah,
I'm
see,
like, here we go.
I feel like they're listening and they're trying, but still just like...
Well, what I think is so stupid and such a slap in the face is how many jokes in that movie they make about how bad it is, and they continue to
do a lot of the same things.
I'm like, then why is this whole movie about the thing that you're acknowledging is bad? You're literally like handing me, it's like you made me a platter of food, and you're like, this is really trash, eat it, and pay me for it now, please.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? That's so offensive.
Yeah, it's stupid. Like, well, here's another thing, is I don't know how I feel about this whole, you have to watch 50,000 things to watch this one thing. And they're starting to do it with Star Wars because it's owned by Disney, and it's making me mad. Like, anything Disney Star Wars, I'm almost at the point where pretty much anything Disney Star Wars, I just don't consider canon anymore. I'll watch it and have fun, but I'm like, kind of like, nah, the main movies or the main 6, I would even say, are really the only ones that I consider the true story.
Yeah. Depending on the day,
Yeah.
I'll be like, and the sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I will never say that I hate the sequel trilogy.
No.
I'll defend the sequel trilogy.
I'm a sequel fan for sure.
But I understand, and I do think there are things that like undermine the main story in Disney Star Wars that make me really mad, and I'm like, you know what, just so I don't have to be annoyed by this, I'm just gonna consider this like a little fan fiction thing.
Exactly. And that's how a lot of people feel about Disney Star Wars. They're like, this just feels like fan fiction at this point. I'm like,
because they keep bringing in the cameos, and that's what we were saying about Deadpool and Wolverine too. It's like fan fiction. Even Spider-Man, the new Spider-Man.
That's exactly how I felt about both of those. And it was like, you know what?
When you look at it that way, it's harmless.
Yeah. Just, I'm looking for entertainment.
It is kind of sad that when you go back and watch, like, Iron Man or even Captain America. I don't love that movie, but you go back and watch those and you're like,
it's a
they
movie.
used to be movies.
Yeah.
We used to be a country.
A real boy. Yeah, it is. And that's why I kind of feel like, I don't know how I feel about thinking of movies like that. Because, like, well, I should have standards, and they should make an effort. Yeah. I shouldn't just give them the pass, like, well, it was entertaining, so it's okay if you... Because then they're just going to keep doing it. Mm-hmm. But then at the same time, like, what am I going to just be a negative Nelly my whole life and be like, oh, this is...
I'm going to boycott everything.
Yeah, like, I want to see Deadpool and Wolverine together, okay?
Yeah.
I wanted to see all three of the Spider-Men together. And I want, like... I don't want Star Wars to stop. I'm like, please.
Keep making...
Because, like, you get The Mandalorian. And then you get Book of Boba Fett.
I consider that canon. Mandalorian, I consider canon.
I'm like, this is what I'm here for.
Season 3.
Yeah, well, it's starting to fall off the wagon there.
Season 3 was rough.
But they did the final season of the Clone Wars, too, which was like... Oh.
They did well with that.
Yes. So that's, like... I'm not gonna boycott it. I'm not gonna get
up in arms.
Yeah, so mad that I'm gonna.
But the Acolyte sucked. Ahsoka was pretty bad.
Andor, I don't like.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's boring as hell. And just admit it already.
What?
Just admit it, people. It's boring. If you're into it, whatever. But you have to admit that compared to other freaking Star Wars stories. It is boring.
I don't understand how you can look at Andor as a main character and think that he's better than a Luke Skywalker, an Anakin Skywalker. Like, even like Mandalorian.
I'm sorry, but even Rey.
I think Rey is more interesting.
She has and you can say about like her story arc and whatever, but she at least has like personality and charisma, not just like. I just do, and that's not against the actor because he, like, I've seen him in other stuff and he's good, but that character is just so trash. I don't
get it, and people make good arguments for like the story being compelling, especially for Star Wars, and I'm like, sure, but I really can't get there unless I care about the characters.
Yeah,
and I didn't.
Like, we just rewatched the Obi-Wan show. Mm-hmm. That show, it has its problems.
It has many problems. I don't think I consider that one canon, I have to say. Because as much as I fall for the scenes where Obi-Wan and Darth Vader fight again, I will not take that their fight on Mustafar wasn't their last fight before they met again in A New Hope.
Really?
I don't believe that.
Interesting.
It undermines it for me.
Oh, okay.
So, like, I'll watch it and I'll enjoy it, but I'm like, this isn't part of the real story.
Interesting. Because I think he needed, like, when he thought Anakin was dead, and then in A New Hope, this is, like, going into...
I know, I don't care.
I'm sorry, I have to speak about this. Going into A New Hope when he's, like, he knows he's Darth Vader now, and he's, like, so convinced...
He's gone.
Yeah, he's more machine than man. He needed that moment to learn that.
I guess, yeah.
And be like, oh my... And I just... Ewan McGregor's acting in that show.
He's so good. He's so good.
And Hayden Christensen as well.
Yeah. The scene where he has his mask ripped open. Oh.
And he's just like... That is everything... Since I was a little girl, all I wanted to see, that slow realization. And he's like coming to terms like...
Yeah.
He wants it to be Anakin, but that he's like... that is not Anakin. And he's, like, going through that. And I'm like, oh, I just love, all of that was perfect.
Yeah, that scene is really good.
All that stuff was a good bridge to A New Hope, and where he is there, he's like, he's not the same person, he's not Anakin. Yeah. He's a machine now. I'm like, oh, God.
It does make sense that he would at least encounter him one more time. Because how would he know that he's more machine than man? You didn't see him.
Yeah. When we leave Revenge of the Sith, he thinks he's dead. Yeah. He thinks he killed him.
Yeah.
And...
okay, I'll accept it then. But I still feel like, I don't know, that big... well, I guess it is the last time they saw each other. Because he wasn't Anakin the next time. He
saw what now he thinks he created. Mm-hmm. Oh, God.
And his face.
And the light... We're going really into it, but like the lighting in that scene when it's blue then red
and then it goes full red for a second.
Oh, God.
Anyway, so there's still good moments and good things that come out of the streaming era.
Yes.
That's how we bring it back to the main topic. But there are issues.
Yes. I think companies like Disney especially, they just have way too much power over these things and using it in the most confounding way I've ever seen a business run.
Yeah.
I've compared it before to the people who created Terrifier, and just the obvious, like, that's how you run a business. That's how you listen to your audience.
Yeah.
And you actually respect them and try to create a product that they'll like. Disney and a lot of other companies just don't care. And they're like, here's some stuff. Watch it. You don't like it? I don't care. Here's some more. Keep watching. I'm like, oh my God. What is this?
I know. I would like to say to Disney a quote from New Girl. From Nick Miller from New Girl. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? No, because a summer's day is not a bitch.
Yes. Yes. Disney, you're sitting there wondering why no one likes you. And I don't know how the evidence could be more clear. I don't know.
You're not allowed to sit with us.
And same with, like, Warner Brothers and everything.
Lot of them.
Yeah. Netflix.
Yes.
Netflix canceling shows left and right. Like, they do not care.
Oh, we had a lesbian vampire show. Admittedly, I didn't tune in, but...
Guess what? It doesn't matter.
No, yeah, because I knew that they
were... Listen, I heard about this great show that they canceled. I'm so pissed they canceled.
That was a bad example to use. What about... I'm not okay with this. I can't remember what it was called. There was another show that was made by Sean Levy of Stranger Things that had a bunch of the It cast in it, and it lasted for one season, and everyone loved it, and all of a sudden it was canceled. And it ended on a cliffhanger, too. It makes me mad.
That's like My Babysitter's a Vampire.
Oh, I love My Babysitter's a Vampire.
She's a girl next
door. Anyway, many shows we mourn because of
bad business decisions.
I'm scared for Interview with a Vampire because it's not super popular. But please, everyone, watch it, please. And don't let Netflix buy it because it is on Netflix, but don't let Netflix buy it.
You're in trouble then.
Then it will definitely get canceled. 100%.
Half season and then it'll be canceled.
My God.
Yeah, it's not good. What we can do about it as audiences is speak with our wallets and our time and stop. I don't want to tell people what to do, but stop even like hate watching stuff because they don't care like what you do with the views. They just want the views and the money, and they're gonna be like, oh, this got lots of hype for bad reasons and I don't care.
Yeah, they do not care.
Yeah, so just stop even like talking about this stuff. Like I was gonna hate watch the new Roadhouse. I'm like, you know what? No, I'm not giving it the time of day. I'm not even gonna think about it anymore.
We could pirate it, I guess.
I don't even want to do that.
I'm not really interested in it.
No. Roadhouse, you don't remake Roadhouse. Roadhouse is perfect.
And it looks like a weird remake.
But, I mean, it's hard to say, because, like, what can we do, really? But...
Well, alas, it was election day recently. It sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean...
Anyway.
Whoever's in power, we don't really have a say, ultimately. But you can always... Whatever does interest you, because there's always... I mean, you always hear about movies that people are into and advocating for that aren't the big streaming movies or whatever they are.
People need to listen to their audiences, like Emily was saying.
Yes.
Listen to your audience, please.
And audience speak by going to see movies that, like, you actually think have the effort put in and are going to be good. Don't be like, well, I gotta take the kids to this one because it'll, like, no.
Well, maybe that. Who knows? If you're a parent and you need something to bring your kids to, Disney is the easiest option.
Put on Mulan, the original cartoon, and they'll love it.
That's all you need.
There's still good movies coming out. Like we said, just this year, we've had some really amazing theater experiences.
Horror's been doing great.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, and
as we love to say, we'll see what next year brings.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully some good stuff. I don't know.
That's another thing. It was confirmed that Stranger Things 5 is coming out in 2025. So, good for us. Probably at the very end of 2025.
Well,
I'm thinking that interview of season 3 will either come out late 2025 or early 2026. So that'll be a nice stretch of months for me.
Hopefully, we keep hearing the new Star Wars Rey movie is going to come out soon. And now we're hearing it might be a trilogy.
Oh my god.
I've heard that before, though. So
yeah, the Rian Johnson... I was about to say the Ryan Gosling trilogy.
Can you imagine? Oh my god. They would do that, though.
Ryan Gosling in Star Wars, a trilogy. He would be good in a parody.
Yeah.
I love him in comedy. Put Ryan Gosling in more comedy films.
Yes. That's a whole streaming station you can make. Just Ryan Gosling comedy.
Put The Nice Guys. Where is The Nice Guys on? Probably like HBO or something. Everyone go watch The Nice Guys too. That's a great movie.
Yeah, so who knows? I mean, it kind of ebbs and flows, I guess. And, I mean, you look at something like Young Woman in the Sea, which miraculously made its way, at least into some theaters.
Yeah.
So, you know, if sometimes when demand is strong enough, you can make a change.
Make a change and break up.
I'm trying to end this like in a positive, philosophical way.
I just think my end thesis is we're not in a state of ruin with film. There's issues, as there always were.
And always will be.
Yeah, but there are also awesome, like, it's not like there's nothing good to watch anymore. There's great things to watch. Just go and watch them. And have a ball. And do what you want. But also be aware of, maybe what the consequences will be.
And be safe.
Yeah, everyone be safe. That's the most important thing. Be safe and have a good summer.
Yes. I'm actually like kind of excited about my top 10 list of the year now.
I know, yeah. Like, so that's something to be said.
Yeah, it used to, for a lot of this year, I was like, what am I going to do? I literally don't have enough films.
Twisters will make an appearance.
So many films. A lot of films will make an appearance. I do think I have enough to make up a whole list, and I'm like really excited to talk about them again. So
yeah,
it's turning around.
Yeah,
and I'm excited for the end of the year and next year.
Yes. What have we been watching? We did watch The Substance, and I liked it.
I mean, I respected it a lot. I'm not into body horror usually.
No.
So like it wasn't really my thing, but I could tell, like, I've watched many of them from the 80s and like Cronenberg and all that, and it like completely matched the vibe. I'm like, I can tell that body horror fans are like freaking out right now. So I was really happy just like how much of a throwback it was.
I thought it was cool. I love a story about female rage and female insanity. So I enjoyed it. It kind of reminded me of Black Swan slightly. Like movies like that. I love that stuff.
Yeah. The effects were
really good, and I ate an omelet while I was watching it. Was not a good idea.
Yeah.
I did not expect that ending. It was an interesting film.
Yeah, it was an experience.
What else did we watch? We rewatched the Twilight Saga because it's ha 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 season.
Oh, I love those movies so much.
It gave me such a good... This week has been so bad, and it gave me such good feelings. It helped.
I'm supposed to be watching Marriage Story at some point to do a review, but I've just been like, I don't want to be in that kind of headspace right now, and Twilight was the exact headspace I wanted to be in.
Yes.
So I'm like, this is
truly
much better.
It literally was so comforting. And now I want to watch, like, the Star Wars prequels again really bad. Really anything that's what I revert whenever I have like a really bad week. I just want to watch nostalgic. I've been watching Stranger Things all week, like, to go to bed. So
I've been going to sleep to Pirates.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yes.
just the thing we need.
Yeah. The sounds from
the importance of escapism in hard times cannot be understated. Cannot be overstated, I mean. And there we have it. Our discussion, our rant. I feel like we didn't get too ranty.
No, I feel like we talked about like a million different things, but
yeah, this will be interesting to edit.
Yeah. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook to keep up with news, updates, and fun stuff. Subscribe to our YouTube channel or wherever you get your podcasts so you know whenever a new episode is available. And that's it for this episode.
And we'll catch you on the flick side. Bye.